Hello everybody and welcome back. We are here for week 35 of the Altered Index 2024 challenge. This is a challenge that I'm running in my Facebook group, Non-Stop Papercrafts. It's also being hosted in the Junk Journaling for Everyone Facebook group. If you would like to go back and check out all of the previous cards, then they are in a playlist called Tuesday Challenge on my YouTube channel. Each week I release 3 prompts. I'm altering index cards just because I have a lot of them, but by all means use whatever you have. If you have different size pieces of card that you're trying to get rid of, or tags, or some people are doing art journaling in a book, that's absolutely fine. But please make sure that you are using the hashtag when you create something and post it on social media so that others can follow you and be inspired by what you are doing. So this week prompts, we have the word joy. The colour is olive. Now we have recently had the colour green. Olive tends to be a sort of darker, earthier type of green, so a dark green's fine. And then the thing is stencil. So we've got joy, olive and stencil. So those are what we're going to be working with today. So again, I have kind of prepped a few things, got some things together. So I had this ribbon that is an olive colour. This was actually off of a notebook or a journal that I had. So I thought I'd make a little bow and then I'm going to add that to my card a bit later on, but it's a lovely olive colour. I actually have the word, I'm just going to bring it down a little bit, joy cut out. So this is an alphabet die that I have. I've done it 3 times just so it's a little bit thicker and it'll be a bit raised then off my card. For the stencil part, I have this layering stencil which has leaves and flowers on, so that's what I'm going to use for my stencil part. And then for olive, again I've got a few colours that I'm going to be using with my stencil. So one of them actually is an olive, it's called Spanish olive. So as I said, it's kind of like a more muddier, earthier green. I have got bamboo leaves as well, just to kind of add a little bit of brightness as well. And then I've got a couple of kind of pinky purples that I'm going to use for the flowers. So I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to give it a go. Now, as I've said in previous videos, the index cards I'm using are pretty thin, so I like to kind of layer them up with something else. Now this isn't particularly thick either. This is 160 GSM, but it just, like I said, adds a little bit of sturdiness. So this is what I'm going to do my stenciling on. And what I'm going to try and do is, I want obviously joy in there. Now I'm debating whether I want to also stencil on joy. I think I might just do, oh, can't pick it up, the leaf layer, but not any of the other flowery parts. I might just do the leaves for joy. And what I'm going to do is I've got this sticky, it's a temporary tape. So I was thinking of sticking them to the middle, like taping them down, stenciling that first layer, then taking them off, and then I can obviously continue with the stenciling. And then those will just have the leaf pattern on. That's what I'm thinking. So we'll see how and if that works. With my layering stencils, I always put a little sticky dot in the corner so I know which way up they go, because when I first got these they were kind of all turned and twisted and it took me ages to figure out how exactly they layer upon each other. So that's why I put the little dots in the corner, just so I know which way up they actually go. So I think the first thing I need to do is just use some washi tape, and I've just grabbed any old washi tape. And I'm just going to use that to hold my card down, she says. Might need to pick a different washi tape. This one might not be very good. Oh no, it's okay. Like I said, it doesn't have to be great. It just needs to hold the card down. So let's just make sure that you're in frame. I'm just going to stick it down on my desk. Okay, Right, then to make sure that these are always lined up, I'm going to use the lines on my mat. So I think I'm going to go up to, so it's going to be like 2 rows up on my squares. I might do that. And then at least I know where I'm kind of stenciling for each one. Yeah, so I'm just going to make sure that the stencil's kind of centered on my card, and then go 2 squares up from where my card finishes. So that's how I'm going to do it. Right, so first thing I need to do then is stick Joy down. So I'm going to actually use some different ones. That's got a little mark on that O. So I'm going to bring in another one. And I'm just going to use this tape. I'm just going to put little bits here and there just to, like I said, I just want to temporarily stick it down. Actually, I'll do the O first because that needs to be more centered, doesn't it? Okay, so roughly the middle. I am guesstimating. You can, of course, measure if you are doing something similar. Okay, and then that tape just holds it in place. Right, then I'll go for my Y, but it's not a strong tape, which I quite like. And we got that one. I don't know, is that the middle? I think it might need to be moved over just ever so slightly. That'll do. Right, okay. Like I said, I have no idea if this is going to work. I've not tried this technique before. So we will see. Right, so I'm going to go 2 squares up. I'm going to line this up with that top row. And then I'm going to, which one do I want to use? So I think I might use the olive for these leaves actually. Sorry, I'm just having a look because obviously I want to make sure that I've got as much leaf on my letters as possible. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go 2 squares up, otherwise it's going to make it far too complicated if I'm trying to shuffle it in exactly the right spot. So I'm just going to go 2 squares up. I'm going to use my olive, and I've got my green brush. So just going to get some ink on there. Now you can take the stencil down as well. I'm not going to, I'm just going to hopefully hold it in place. Now I prefer using brushes to dabbers for stencils because I find that the sponge gets worn very quickly if you use the dabbers, whereas the bristles can move quite nicely in between the gaps of the stencil. So holding it in place, moving over. I've actually seen, you know those little finger dabbers, you can actually get them with a brush. I've seen them, somebody else had them on their craft channel, so I'm going to have to keep an eye out for those and see if I can find some, because that would be great for really small fine details, especially something like this. Right, moving over again. But I do love these type of layering stencils. It's especially helpful, as I say, having that dot in the corner, because now I know exactly where to kind of lay everything. It does make it so much easier. I mean, you can kind of tell when you're have the stencils laid on top of one another where things kind of go, but it's still nice just to have that kind of immediate reassurance of where things need to be. Right, I think that's it. So we're going to lift that off. Oh, it looks cool already. Right, let's put that away. Right, I'm then going to peel off Joy. Like that. Don't worry, I will clean my stamps later once I've finished doing all of them. Right, so next I'm going to do this one, because this one's the flowers, but this one will be the darker details afterwards. So I'm just going to slide that up. And I've actually got two things I need to do here. So some of these are leaves, and then obviously the rest are flowers. So right, so I want to line it up with that up there, roughly in the middle. And as I say, you can kind of see where things should be. So for these green leaves, I'm going to use the bamboo. So I'm going to do that bit first while I've got my green brush in my hand. I'm just going to get a scrap piece of paper there and just rub off some of that olive. Okay, and now I'm just going over the leaves. Obviously I don't want to do the flower petals, so I'm just going to hold that in place again. So this is where those teeny little finger dabber brushes would come in handy, actually. Especially if these leaves are next to, like, the flowers, obviously you don't want to accidentally go on the flower. So I've got to be careful with these ones. And up here. I mean, if you really want to go for it, you could mask off the flowers, but that's just going to take far too much time. And I didn't want to be doing that. So I thought I'd just go for it. And like I said, just hope that I don't go over something I shouldn't do. Okay, so I think that's all the leaves. So now it's just the flowers. So I'm going to do the light one first. So I've got this pink. Again, just going to rub off. No, there's nothing coming off, that's fine. Okay, so just going to, oops, I've moved it. That's it, line it back up, and then just come in with that pink. And again, you could mask off the green if you don't want any overlap, but as I say, far too much effort. And then for this, I'm just going to go through all the pieces because you've got like these little, I think it's supposed to be like little buds. And then you've got like the centre of the flowers. But I really love layering stencils. I only have, I think, about 3, maybe 4. But I really love them. I think they can just create a really lovely background pattern without really much effort. Like I said, the main tricky thing is just trying to figure out the orientation and get them all lined up, which is why, like I said, I like to use my grid, my mat, to help keep things in place. And yeah, having that dot in the corner helps me. Right, that's that one, I think. So, ta-da! Now I know it looks like there are things missing in the middle, but that's obviously because that's where Joy goes. And I've only done the leaves for Joy, so that's why it looks a little bit odd in some places. Right, okay. I think that looks really nice. I'm quite happy with that. So if we have this on there, just so you can kind of see how it's going to look. And the only reason that I didn't include all of the flowers over Joy's because I kind of need it to stand out a little bit. I didn't want it too sort of camouflage so you then can't see Joy at all. But that's kind of how it will look, and obviously it's going to be raised up. So let's do that. I'm going to get my glue. Yeah, there's nothing too fine on here. And then just layer these up. So I've done 3 layers just because, like I said, I wanted it to kind of be quite raised. And I cut these on 200 GSM card. So it's like a lightweight card. Okay, so that's the J. Yeah, I really like that. Okay, excellent. It's just fun because now it blends in. Nope, I've done that over the wrong way around because it's got a thicker side and a thinner side. That's the way it goes. That's better. Yeah, it just gives it some dimension, and I'm tempted I might ink around the edge of the letters in a minute as well. We'll see how it looks with and without. But this is one thing I'm quite liking about these challenges is, like I said, I've got a few sets of layering stencils, but I don't use them too often. I mean, I do make my own cards, my own greeting cards, but I only make them for like my friends and family, so I don't sort of make a lot of them and sell them. It's not like journal making for me, and I would definitely not say I'm an expert of any kind. Whoops. So some of the sort of dies and stamps that I have, and I have a lot, I don't get to use too often, so it's quite nice having this challenge because I'm now reaching for stuff that I either haven't used in a very long time or haven't used at all. So it's fun to actually kind of get them out and play around with them. Okay, so that's how it's looking, and I actually really quite like that. I don't know if I even want to go around with an ink. No, I think I'm going to leave it. Right, so I'm going to glue those down to that. I quite like that, it's a bit hidden. Oh, I don't know, do I want to add ink around the outside? There's a part of me that thinks I want to. Part of me quite likes it sort of camouflaged in. Okay, yeah, I'm going to go around it with ink. And if I totally mess this up now, I'm going to be so angry at myself. But I have now made that commitment, haven't I? Okay, I think that does actually help make the letter pop a little bit. So yeah, I'm going to carry on. Right, okay, now let's get them stuck down. Okay, going for this one. Okay, so just trying to line it up with the stencil. That's the first letter. Just making sure that is the right way up. Yeah, so I'm going to try and keep it the right way up in my hand. Okay, then that one's there. Last one. Okay, and then this one goes there. Joy. Yeah, I really like that. Okay. Excellent. Right, so now we can peel off, oops, the masking tape. A bit more careful than what I just did. We'll glue that back down in a sec. Now it has given me a little bit of a border on each side. That's not a problem. I'm just going to glue that little bit that I've just made a mess of. It's obviously much more tackier than I thought, that washi tape. Okay, and I think with my dabber just to do something to these edges. And this side. I think that's better. Right, okay, lovely. Let's bring back my index card then and stick this down. Okay, I've been using this bottle for a few weeks now and I've not had a single problem with it. Today, it wants to be annoying. Okay, that'll do. Right. Okay, so that's that all stuck down. Lovely. Right. So my number 35 is going to be on this part here. So let's get that stuck down and lined up. Like that. I'm just going to add some glue to the bottom, just around that window. Okay, then I also had this ribbon that I think I was going to add to the bottom of the O. And for that, I'm actually going to use a glue dot. Now these glue dots are quite big, so I only want a small piece of that. So I am just going to break a piece off. And these are super, super sticky. So no extra glue is needed. Like I said, I'm just going to add that at the bottom of the O. And then obviously these are quite long, so we can trim those a little bit. Then we have that. So joy. Right, where are my prompts? Let's have a little check then. So joy, so we've got our word joy. Olive, I've used olive colour in this, either in this stenciling and in my ribbon. And stencil, the whole thing has been stenciled to be coloured. So I really love that, and I love the fact that joy is kind of hidden within the design as well. As I said, I love using layering stamps. I think they just create an instant beautiful background. I hope you have found some inspiration in this video and that you are enjoying doing the challenges. Remember to use the hashtag when you are posting on social media so others can have a look at what you're up to. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you all in the next crafty video. Bye for now.